So as a brand, it's time to stop using all those fancy buzzwords in your content. It's time to make easy, digestible, ecom-ready content. And we are going to talk about this, Ruben.
Correct.
So we've been talking about how to win in e-commerce, and with data-driven product listings, we talked about where to win in e-commerce. But now, Ruben, we are going to talk about how to win in e-commerce.
So once you have determined where to win, with what assortment, with what prices, where your consumer is, obviously you need to make sure that they convert based on your assortment, but also based on your inevitable content.
Yeah.
It's always a not so popular topic, and it's always, it's most of the times overlooked and seen as a obsolete part.
Yeah.
But it is one of the most vital parts of making sure that that conversion takes place.
It can make or break it, basically.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
So we're talking about brand pages, A+ pages, but also your USPs, making sure that the images are of the right quality, that the images reflect the right corner of the product, but also that they reflect the right, basically the right applicability of the product, how to use it.
Yeah.
Really, to have in one snapshot, you as a consumer, in one snapshot, you need to be able to make that purchase decision, to click at the buy box, convert, sell it, or buy it, and then receive it at your doorstep.
And it'll also have an impact on return rates and all.
Very much.
Getting the right content online is not only being able to sell that item, but also making sure that barely any items get returned to you.
Yes. That's also why I know, for example, Amazon is really happy with those, we call it line drawings, especially if you have like, I don't know, some kind of a table or a chair. Yeah. And then you exactly know what the measurements are. So the height, the width, the depth. Yeah. Because sometimes in the picture you can think of it's a really small product and then you receive it at home and it's super large.
Well, in the next floor, we've been the victim of this topic. As a buyer once, we bought what I thought were two big loungy chairs, right? And the image was perfect and all. And I thought, oh, those are two nice chairs to just put in a corner somewhere at the office where you can just sit down with your laptop and, do your work a bit more relaxed. Yeah, and then I got them, and I guess it was more of a children's chair. And maybe there were sizes in the listing, I don't know, I didn't look for it, I guess, but there wasn't a line drawing like you mentioned.
Correct.
So I guess having line drawings with sizes, it would really make sense.
This is the perfect example of consumers, and even I'm one of those consumers as well. Even though we work in e-commerce, I never read those long descriptions. I never read those tables with all the specifics. Only if I need to really am looking for a specific. For example, a laptop, I need to make sure what kind of SSD is in there. Then I really read those tables. But if I'm looking for a chair, to be honest, I didn't read it. I want to see a line drawing, especially because it's above the fold. So it's the first thing you see, and I want to make sure that within those 5 first images, there is a line drawing, so I can really know what the measurements are.
So and then what we've seen in the past is especially when you're selling a product and you also have resellers selling the same product and also listing content for the products. Most marketplaces are catalog based. So the content is stored generally, and every seller can use that content and just publish an offer on that product listing. And what we've seen is that it's a mashup of all kinds of content, right? So, for example, here in the Netherlands, bol.com, they'll just look at what's the best content according to what they think for a product. But also maybe some reseller is adding some attributes that are not yet filled in, and then they'll just add it to the listing. And what you get is a bit of a disturbed listing with input from all kinds of sources, which makes then that the type of writing and everything is completely mixed. So as a brand, obviously that's quite frustrating. But now there's a solution.
There is a solution, the big solution.
Yeah, what is it?
It's called brand registry. Amazon has been doing this for quite some time now, specifically in the vendor part. Yeah. So to be able for vendors to have brand control over their content, since they are also offered, of course, in the seller model. So others can offer their offer or can put their offer on this product.
Yep.
But now bol.com also is offering this for brands, so you can register your EAN, which makes sure that you can take over or take back the control of your brand identity, and also make sure that there's uniformity. For example, in images, but also in content or in the content language. And that's a really big plus, not only to make sure that your brand identity is protected and that your brand message is uniform across all platforms, but also for conversion purposes, of course. Since this product data or this product information is uniform, the images are of good quality, you'll get much higher conversions than if it's not, of course.
Yeah, and then it doesn't even matter if that brand is actually selling on the marketplace or if it's just there to make sure that the image of the brand is according to format.
Yeah, we've seen it with some other companies which I've experienced with. We saw that at that specific company they didn't offer the complete catalog as a seller on this marketplace, but they did own all the EANs, so they did register all those EANs, so they could take control over their complete brand. They also made brand stores and A+ pages to make sure that they have control over their brand identity, even though they were selling, I don't know, like 10 or 20% of their complete assortment, and the other 80% was being sold by other parties, to third parties, retailers, resellers, whatever. Yeah.
Do you think a lot of brands are aware of that strategy? That what they can achieve is they can optimize listings of content on marketplaces on which they do not sell, but their customers are, so the retail customers are, and therefore, for example, increase their position in search results on the platform and increasing revenue. So by improving content, they can increase revenue of their customers and thus their own revenue.
It was exactly what we were talking about in the previous company. We said to each other, it doesn't matter which party sells our products, if it's our product and not our competitor's product.
Yeah.
Interesting thing which you are stating is you can optimize products, of course. But we see a lot of times happening that in terms of the brand identity and branding, that's a part of the marketing department and not a part of the e-commerce department. And in large companies, specifically large retailers or large brands, those operate simultaneously, but next to each other. And often they don't communicate. So they get a brand guide or brand strategy from the branding department, and the e-commerce manager or the e-commerce or marketplace manager has a objective on doing sales, and they just take the content which is available. And this brand manager often is not aware of this brand registry process, and the e-com manager doesn't care since he just is doing sales. So that's something which I think brands need to be made more aware of. So that's why we're here, of course. But also just do it. Even if you're not selling the product or if you're not willing to sell the product, just make sure that you have registered the EAN. And that you are the brand owner. Register it at the respective platforms. There are some easy ways to do it, of course. We can help you with that, of course, but really make sure to do that since you are taking back ownership of your brand identity, your product performance, even if you're not selling it yourself.
No, but still do the data-driven approach, right? So do that research before optimizing that content.
We've seen it. We have been pitching for a large beauty and health brand, and we did this audit. And what we also do in this audit, or during this audit process, basically the omnichannel roadmap, we make sure that we check the content and the content quality. So also a very important thing to see is that they are often offering products out of a branding perspective. So this content is being provided by the brand department or the marketing department. And they think, okay, so the images which we are printing out and which we are making a billboard for, and we are doing in physical stores, that's also content which we can reuse on Amazon or on bol.com. And then you see, for example, a black a black shampoo on a black background. That is killing for your conversion. Because you need a white or transparent background, otherwise you can't see the exact product. Those are small things which have super high impact. So that's what we advise them to just skip that part, or just to re-upload images or to retouch it to make sure that content is e-com ready, dynamic, conversion ready.
And what's the general reaction to at brands that are not selling on these marketplaces when you tell them this? Basically they're investing in something that they are not directly selling on. They are investing in doing that research and publishing that content to indirectly get that revenue. So we see most of the times they're not aware of it, since they just have this content bank, basically.
the image bank or the content bank, and people just grab from that, and then resellers just get this content package. Most times they're shocked when we are coming up with those examples, and we show them what a best-in-class example is for e-commerce versus what a worst-in-class example is, which is their product. And then they're really shocked, and most of the time they say, okay, please help us. And that's where we come into play, and then we can really, because it's quite simple to do, it's quite easy to do for us, but you need to make sure that you know how to do it. So doing e-commerce content is totally different than doing marketing content for physical stores.
Yeah, but you know, basically doing content where you're not selling directly yourself is something that they've been doing for years in the stores, right? So this brand that you're talking about, they will probably have designed displays for in-store purposes suited for the specific target group that is there. And basically what you're doing on marketplaces isn't that different.
It isn't.
It's just a bit of another approach,
Exactly.
a bit more data-driven perhaps, but it's still investing in content, although you are not the seller yourself.
Correct. So basically, it's starting with the brand store. Specifically, if you're a large brand in health and beauty, it's more important at that stage. So to inspire them to eventually convert into a buying customer and to buying your product. But there we see the combined effort in, first of all, creating that brand experience with your brand stores, your A+ page, but then next to that, making sure that the product and the product images and the product information is really clear and really straightforward. What we oftentimes see is that it's being written out of a product manager's perspective. So they have all these kinds of fancy titles and fancy words for, I don't know, just a shampoo which cleans your hair. That's basically what it does. But they make all kinds of fancy things. And out of a branding perspective and out of marketing, I really understand it. But if you are a consumer, you just want to make sure, what does the product do? 5 bullet points, really clear, really straightforward, not written out of a kind of a product focused approach.
And then, so brands, if you're still doubting a bit about what to do on this subject, just take in mind that last year, according to a research of Cross-Border E-commerce Group, in Europe, about 58% of all e-commerce revenue was through marketplaces, and they expect it to grow to 65% by 2023 or 25, I believe. And I think there's still headroom because of specific countries, like for example Poland, whereas there's huge amounts of people that are not yet buying a lot online, and it has accelerated a bit during COVID because they had to. But there's still so much headroom. So if you're still doubting, which
you shouldn't,
now is the time. And I've made the analogy yesterday or the day before about the marketplace train, and if you haven't boarded yet, we'll get you a comfortable seat. You have to do it right now. Stop thinking and start doing, but do it on a data-driven approach.
Even if you're not selling on this marketplace.
Even if you're not.
Make sure that you are present at the marketplace.
Exactly.
Even if it's with marketing. But we'll talk about that part later on.
Just be where the consumer is. Right, thanks. Thank you.
Thanks.